So let's start now with this square, and so again pulling the thread up, locking the stitch. Again, now I have to remove my clip because I do not have enough length of the sandwich now that I moved back to the middle. And let's start with this element. So in principle I am ignoring the blocks and I'm using the secondary pattern that is created here. I'm enhancing it, and the quilt look will look completely different that way. And also in this case you can see that because I want to separate my area of quilting, I actually do not secure the whole block per se, but I am limiting my area of quilting, which I am focusing on right now. That's why lots of quilting in the ditch at the beginning. And now I want to create the echo line. So if I will start here, I will have not the effect I want to have, so I have to actually travel in the ditch to this moment and then I can start. It helps to hide, or it's less visible that way. Take your time. The quilt is not large, it's ironed, so it lays relatively flat. But with larger quilts, especially if you are moving them around like I do, because I am always juggling between different projects, then you have to smooth them more often. Don't rush when you do that. Ruler quilting anyway does not like hurry, and especially when you are just trying to decide how to move the best way around, then it's better to slow down and take a moment. Because with quilting, sometimes slower is faster, if you know what I mean. So now it's the question, it's the two lines are enough. No, actually I will go for one more, because I want to have more of the tile effect. So I will add one. I will add one echo line more. My ruler has tons of extra lines etched on the surface, and they help me a lot to position my ruler correctly. So if you are choosing a ruler for your quilting, presence of such lines is definitely an indicator of good quality and usefulness, because that's what we want to have. It's better to have few tools of good quality than many that you are not using. So now I have this very nicely separated area, and the question is how I want to fill it, and I can use whatever all over filler I want to do. And it can be again swirls, but those I actually want to reserve for the small squares. And here I will start with the swirly daisies. Because they are nice and fast, and they have wonderful texture, and I can actually switch between designs, like have two of them, and use them as chipboard. So I will have an extra design tool. When I quilt real quilts, not just small YouTube projects, I actually keep my designs to few because it makes for more effective quilting. So I'm simply faster, and it still looks gorgeous. I have this corner here, I have to come back here and fill it in a moment. there not enough, when there is not enough space, I will just pull the swirl without petals. Probably you noticed I'm adjusting my quilting, how fast I'm moving my sandwich to the resistance. So when I'm going over thicker places, I'm slowing a little bit down to have more feel how much resistance I'm going to meet, if I have to stop or not, and adjust the height of my foot, because I don't want to pull it and have a large single stitch in undefined direction. Momentum is an important thing here. And because I have so many echo lines, it is better if I will now make a stop and move on to the next element. The next element is the sashing, and I will do exactly that. So I simply want to be consistent, and this line is already quilted, so let's start here. now we can repeat the echo procedure on this one as well. In this block, again I have to secure the quilt. It's pulling too much on one side and it's disturbing the flow. And again I'm using the seams to move without breaking the thread. You see here I have 1 or 2 longer stitches because suddenly I could move my quilt faster. Sometimes that happens. That's why I'm not obsessing about the stitch length, because I try to keep it consistent, but sometimes you simply cannot control everything here. Especially with a larger quilt, this is really a manual work. That's one of the situations where long arm quilting has definitely an advantage. At least I imagine it does, because I never quilted one, but just from the mechanics of things. That's why going slower helps, because then you can react better on changes in the tension you have on the in your sandwich. Still, if you think about it, quilting on a smaller machine than long arm has advantages because it is smaller. That means you don't need large dedicated space that it's only and only for quilting. This machine can sew as well, so I can do many different things in the same area. And of course it is cheaper, unless you're buying some really insane machine. I've seen one. Oh, but the price is, it was 14,000 euro for a sewing machine. I almost expected to be able to make coffee for me for this price. couple lines already, and we can start with quilting some other design. I think variation of 2 designs in the checkerboard pattern will have a nice effect. So I will go actually with the rainbow pattern. It's nice and flexible. I just practiced it. It is easy to fill space with it in a nice regular manner, very systematic. For those that don't know how to quilt this pattern, a few weeks ago I made a dedicated video about it, so please check my channel for details. Now I have here some odd spaces. I have to go back there and fix them before moving on. It's really good from time to time to check what's the situation on the within the quilting area, so you can react in the right moment. Nothing would happen if you have to travel and fix it later, but it's much more satisfying if you know you noticed it and you moved effectively across your quilting area. So we are simply not wasting time. sometimes I add some lines just to create an illusion of overlapping, that there are some more elements under. It's not really necessary from the density point of view, it's just for the interest. Oops. Thread broke. See why? Sometimes it happens. Usually with this thread the machine does not make any trouble. So maybe it got something from between. Let me see under the... I will just cut this away and travel around to secure the stitches, and that should be fine. I don't know why, but the most breakage I have is with the yellow thread, even if it's very thin cotton thread. So, but now that should do the trick. We just have a little bit left, and that will be all for today. It was anyway quite... Oh, that's a long video. now we are done. That's how the first part looks like, and it's already a very long video, so let's stop at this, and I hope I could provide you with some inspiration and more practical information on quilting.